Welcome to Deep Thought. Raise your consciousness every moment. You know what? That's a very key thing. Raising your consciousness. What is your consciousness? Awareness. Being aware of what you're doing. I've talked about several times, I've talked about being in the moment. Most people, look, here's the reality. People might say consciousness, they might say woke and all of that. A lot of times what people are saying publicly is just information. You could still be asleep. You could still be asleep. You could be sleepwalking through the world. You remember I've talked before about how some people are staying in the past. They're just thinking about past memories. Or they focus on the future. And of course, staying in the past, that can lead to depression. Just focus on the future can lead to anxiety. But it don't have to be depression or whatever. You could be thinking about the past, all the good stuff. Hey, that's better than, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with reliving the great moments. Nothing wrong with it. But it's still the past. And there's nothing wrong with looking in the future and thinking what can happen. That's a great thing. Hey, it focuses you. Shoot, people should visualize. But it's still the future. You need to be conscious in the moment. You need to work to the point that you are aware of what's going on. That's real consciousness. What does conscious mean? Or people say woke or something. Are you awake just your everyday? It's not about what information you got. There's a lot of people who are quite frankly sleepers who got a ton of information. And indeed, I'm just going to be real with it. I'm going to be real with it. A lot of that consciousness woke that's shared publicly, there's nothing wrong with it, but really is really following a certain political agenda. It's a word. There needs to be a better word for it. True awakeness, true consciousness is being aware of every moment. What's your consciousness right now as you're sitting listening to this? What type of consciousness do you have? Are you aware of it? Are you paying attention? You paying attention to my words? Or after you finish listening to this podcast, are you going to be just sleepwalking through the day? Working on a job where you're not really thinking about what you're doing. Like I say, I always talk about being in the moment because I think about times I might drive someplace. Get the lights, everything, and then be like, wait a minute, I'm not even in the moment. Thinking about something else. You conscious enough to keep going and not cause any accidents, but you really not in the moment or anything. Raising your consciousness is trying to be awake, being aware, being in the moment. And it's a powerful thing. I've talked about it before. I'll continue talking about it. Just being aware of everything going on around you. Aware of the air, the sounds, everything. The music, the animals who might be scurrying about, every sound and everything, And it's a powerful thing. If you ever try it, just try it. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Think of just be in the moment, being conscious, because it's more than just being aware of everything, but making the right decision. You're dealing with something right there, right then, because you're aware, you can see the whole thing. It's a very powerful thing. And like I said, every moment, as best as possible. Let's be real. Even myself, you ain't going to be perfect with it. You're going to think about the past. You're going to think about the future. You're going to have some depression, even if it's very minor. You're going to have some anxiety, even if it's very minor. As long as I talked about last week, don't dwell on it. But you're going to have it. You're going to have it. Pay attention. See what you see. There's so many things you can see, so many things you can notice. Now, when I'm like in the moment and have my consciousness expanded, there's so many little things you see. I mean, seriously, like I said, it's not all the time, every single moment. Shoot, if somebody could stay conscious and in the moment for 10 minutes, hey, they on some mastery. I remember I saw a house the other week. Nice looking house. That house has always been there. That house wasn't built, but I noticed it. And I was like, what? Wait a minute, how come I never seen that house there before? And then I said, and then I thought it was one time I was driving. I said, you know what? Usually when I'm driving, I'm just in like on autopilot. And it's powerful because you can learn something, you can see something. The few times, and I've noticed this, when I see something, stuff opens up to me. Ideas come to me and everything. That's consciousness. Consciousness is being responsible for how you move in life. Many people, unfortunately, are part of a herd. They ain't really thinking about it. They ain't really thinking about what they doing. They being moved along. They being moved along the invisible fence. Like we have all these fences and everything. You doing stuff, you ain't really thinking about it. A lot of people might be going to a coffee shop or something, not because they necessarily like that coffee. It's all right, but because that's the thing to do. Shoot, that's a whole other video on the different fences. A lot of invisible ones. But it moves us along. Being conscious, at the very least, is being aware of those fences. Even if you know the fences are there, being conscious is being aware of it. Yeah, there's an invisible fence. Yeah, people are moving along this way for a reason. Being in the moment. You can see stuff. You can get an idea. You can even read people. Because you're conscious and you're actually paying attention to them fully. You're paying attention to not just the words coming out their mouth, but their body language, how they looking at you. A lot of people don't do that. They'll communicate with somebody, but not really paying attention to what's going on with them. You want to do this every moment. Work to it. Seriously, just practice it. Practice it. It's tough. It's tough. It really is. Because sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, it can be overwhelming sometimes. Because right now, okay, I'm speaking with y'all right now, but I'm paying attention to other stuff is coming into my conscious, like people walking outside of my place. And I'm just like, especially a couple of nice young ladies. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes it can be overwhelming, but with practice, you can focus it. You can focus yourself, but you still aware of it. You still like, okay, this person's here, this person's here. This is key. This is key. So you want to work to raise your consciousness every moment. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.